existence revolved around the serenity of its agricultural fields, was enveloped in a climate of restlessness and rumor. Among its inhabitants, the gloomy news of the incursions of the feared Teot tribe into neighboring towns spread like a feared omen. On what seemed like an ordinary night, the guards, faithful to their duty, kept watch at the entrance of the village, carrying out their usual patrols. Amidst the apparent tranquility, tension hung palpably in the air. From the shadows emerged unknown figures, whose presence went unnoticed until they pounced furtively upon the guards. In an instant, the tranquil vigil was interrupted by the sudden assault of these mysterious intruders, who took them from behind and showed no mercy. Fortunately, one of the guards, who was keeping watch from the heights, noticed what had happened and immediately sounded the alarm to warn the townsfolk of the imminent danger. The people reacted swiftly, rushing out of their homes in panic, creating chaos within seconds. Everyone tried to flee, but it was already too late. They were surrounded. The few guards assigned to protect the village reacted quickly to the imminent threat. The firm and determined steps echoed on the ground, announcing the beginning of a fierce confrontation. Brandishing their weapons firmly, they boldly launched into confrontation against the invaders. However, the numerical superiority and ferocity of the intruders proved overwhelming. One by one, they fell to the overwhelming force of their opponents. Despite their courage and coordinated efforts, the guards were gradually overcome by the relentless onslaught of the invaders. The villagers, now defenseless and deprived of their freedom, were brutally captured and reduced to the condition of prisoners. Their anguish intensified as they witnessed helplessly how their beloved village crumbled before their eyes. Amidst the chaos, the Tlatoani, leader of the Teot tribe, rose with authority, proclaiming that his arrival represented the liberation of the people from the scourge of hunger. However, this liberation came with a price: tribute to the deities, whereas the first tribute, the sacrifice of a young woman, was required. Meanwhile, Kanek, a 16-year-old who was exploring the forest and training to become a great warrior, was hastily descending from the hill towards the site of the sacrifice. He had learned of the tribe's arrival. The news of his mother's capture hit him deeply, and now he was heading towards the place where the sacrifice would take place. In a dark and humid corner of that gloomy enclosure, the mother and her 2 children were prisoners, watched with eager eyes by the fearsome executioner. It was palpable in the air while the Tlatoani gave the order for the sacrifice to begin. The executioner headed towards the mother. With excessive violence, the executioner lunged at the woman with merciless ferocity and dragged the mother out of her cell without showing an ounce of mercy, while she resisted in silence, no longer having any hope. Upon arrival, Kanek approached carefully to avoid being discovered. From a distance, he observed attentively while containing his fear and evaluating his options. He saw his mother lying on the ground atop a small stone monument used for religious ceremonies. The Tlatoani delivered his speech, offering loyalty to the deities in exchange for their mercy. Upon finishing his speech, the Tlatoani signaled to the executioner, while the ecstatic crowd performed the sacrificial dance around them. Immediately, the executioner raises the weapon and with great force stabs it into the woman's belly. The crowd of people screamed madly as they saw the blood spilling. Kanek could not believe what he was seeing. His soul was filled with helplessness, and an uncontrollable rage consumed him. His mother had been the victim of the questionable whim of mere mortals. Kanek felt his heart pounding with fury as the mix of sadness and anger drove him to seek justice. While the roar of the percussion filled the air with its powerful rhythm. The Tlawani proudly showed his first offering that would later be delivered to the deities. After a few seconds, Kanek reacts again and hears voices in the distance crying. Kanek sneaks through the trees and observes his two brothers, locked in a bamboo cage. The sight hits him with a mix of indignation. Kanek slides up to the cage, his hands skillful and firm, seeking a way to open the improvised lock until finally he manages to set them free. Kanek tried to calm his siblings, telling them that they would now have to be brave and very quiet. He took them by the hand, guiding them out of that place as quickly as possible. But the guards of the Tiot tribe waste no time in noticing what's happening and order them to be caught. Without a moment to lose, Kanek and his brothers embark on their escape. Kanek carries his sister on his back as his brother follows closely behind. The race against time propels them towards the edge of a precipice where the world seems to pause in silence. And behind them, one of the Tiot tribe guards fires an arrow aimed at Kanek, who struggles with desperate effort to dodge the mortal projectile. With a cry of anguish, Kanek loses his grip, his fingers slipping on the edge of the abyss like rose petals blown by the wind.
Ikke me? Bid him her, Rory? Skal han gøre tønderne?
Nashkatas kotolun. Livote a juavai. Vuhun chovol.
Tumlikavanike.
Amal sakti kamay.
Lihavan tak. Chak kavaik.